Alright, y'all, what's happening? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I am here with my review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, if you have not seen this movie yet, I advise you to come back because it will be spoilers, or check out my really abridged, really short, really concise, me barely saying anything, non-spoiler review. I tried to do one of those, and I was like, well, just there's something, right? So, here it is. Look. We're finally playing catch up to the COVID shuffles, because that's what this is. This is part we should have been gotten this movie along, right after WandaVision, things like that. Okay, let me give you my first overall thoughts. Like I said in my non-spoiler joint, I dug the movie. I liked it. Right. I think letting Sam Raimi do Sam Raimi was a great idea. The movie starts off with its MCU bit, like it lets you know this is a Marvel movie. And then Sam Raimi get to do his horror shit. You get some campiness. You get some fun. You get the quips. But when shit get real, shit gets real. The young lady, Xochitl, I'm not sure if I pronounced her name correctly, but she plays America Chavez. She steals the fucking show. Like, she gets you involved in her, with her emotions of why she is the way she is, how she can't control her abilities. She's not a mutant, as, again, the words don't come up, right? Rachel McAdams being back as Christine Palmer hits on the notes. Because, bro, in the beginning, again, spoiler review. Y'all already know what this is. Christine getting married to a nigga. Married to a black dude. I was like, oh, all right. And Steven goes to the wedding. And, he's like, I've always felt things could have been better with us. And she basically like, oh, fam, you out here saving the world and shit. But you always had to be the one with the knife. You always had to be that guy. So it would have never worked out between the two of us. The way you see this Mark jump into action early in the movie when he just jumped, he's at a wedding, bro got the rest of, like, this month. We've seen the clip that they put out, the really first interaction of our Doctor Strange with America Chavez, right? So we've seen that. The way he jumps in action, my man is out, it's the wedding reception. He on the balcony drinking a martini. He sees shit going down. My man finishes the martini, pulls the cloak out the inside of his jacket pocket, jumps down, changes. I was like, okay, this is dope. Benedict Wong, the man is cold. The man is cold as Wong. You know what I'm saying? You know what you get. Chiwetel Ejiofor shouts out to Baron Mordo with the Allen Iverson braids. With the practice, we talking about practice? And the fact that the Mordo we meet in this movie is not the Mordo from our universe, which officially is designated as 616 per Christine Palmer in this film, because the universe in which the Illuminati reside, I believe it was 838, and so that was, that was good. So we know the designation of our universes. We've been hearing so much designations like switched up. Is it this one? Isn't it that one? Is it this one? But now, I think it's officially stamped as of this movie. It's Earth was 616. All right, let's get into it. Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff as the Scarlet Witch. I'm cool with it, right? I understand her. She's angry. She fucks shit up. Her whole motivation in this movie is she wants to get her boys back. If you watch WandaVision, her kids are magic. They're not real. She created them. And it's a point she tells Steve, like, aren't all kids magical? That's how you get them. No, bitch, you're not finna use that line when you literally was like, do, 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 all that shit, right? That's how you got your babies. So she's all about trying to get her babies, and she realizes that her babies may not exist in this universe, but in other universes they do exist. And she knows that America Chavez can traverse those universes, right? And she just got everything going. Her powers have gotten crazy. She got the black burnt tips on her fingers, like she been doing heroin in the heroin and crack in the back of alleys with with all dirty ass crack fiends that just smoke on the back of a TV antenna they can still find, or what the fuck ever you find antennas in 2022. But that's that. So one of the big things that happens, again, Stephen Strange is traversing the multiverse with America Chavez. He's all about trying to get the Book of Vishanti, because the Book of Vishanti will give a sorcerer the ability to do whatever he needs to do to combat Wanda, who's using the Darkhold, right? Remember, we originally got the Darkhold out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then it was reintroduced in WandaVision, and now she's using the fuck out the Darkhold here. Here's where the Illuminati comes in, all right? Now, if you do not want to hear this, even though you know you are watching a spoiler-filled review, I advise you to right now stop this video. We know the voice we hear of the Illuminati. When we hear Professor Xavier, it is definitely Patrick Stewart. And not only is it Patrick Stewart, they gave that man the hover wheelchair that we know from the cartoons and everything. It is so dope. The other members of the Illuminati are Captain Carter. Yes, Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell. Captain Marvel, Maria Rambeau. Yes, that is the Captain Marvel we have. The other two members of the Illuminati are Black Bolt. Anson Mount is Black Bolt in the actual Black Bolt suit, and Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski. So, a lot of fan service. So now, you know the FF exists, you got Professor Xavier, so now you're automatically assuming the mutants are here and everything works and everything is cool, right? Wrong. This bitch Wanda murders niggas. I forgot to mention how she was murdering niggas in Carmitage earlier, because she tells Steven, when you see the scene that we see in the trailers of Steven meeting Wanda and walking through the apple blossoms, and then you see his swaps. Basically, Wanda tells Steven, give me America Chavez by sundown, or shit's gonna get real. And, you know, she's like, he's like, me sending monsters, that was me being reasonable. I could have came after this bitch myself, basically. So, Wanda makes her approach to Carmitage. We see the trailer. We've seen it when it gets dark. The dark cloud, rolls over Carmitage and shit like that. And, sorcerers try to, fight and hold off. Wanda is fucking them up. Wanda fucks them all up. Like, she is murdering. Like, we know people die in the MCU. We've seen deaths happen certain ways. The level of death and the level they take it up a notch in this is like, yo! That's Carmitage. Let me tell you what, again, spoiler alert. Like, you already know it. Don't you get mad. You get mad, that's on you. I done told you. So this is how they handle bringing in Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, Professor Xavier, Captain Carter, and the different Captain Marvel. Wanda murders all these niggas. At one point, they tell Wanda, it's Black Bolt, Captain Marvel, Captain Carter, and Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. They stand off with Wanda, and, Reed is trying to calm her down. Reed is like, yo, Wanda, let's not do this, blah, 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 blah. She's like, yo, we could, look, we understand what you're trying to do. And Wanda asked Reed, do you have kids? And Reed says, yeah. And she was like, good. So like, do they have their mother? He was like, yes. She was like, is their mother still alive? Reed says, yeah. She said, good. Well, your kids will have somebody to stay with after you gone. Bitch, what? So then Reed tried to hit her with the Wanda, listen, let me tell you something. Black Bolt can just whisper a word and he will destroy you. And Wanda's like, with what mouth? And she Deadpools this nigga from X-Men Origins. Remember how they shut Wade off when they had no mouth? Problem is, this nigga tried to whisper Black Bolt and blew the back of his own fucking head off. Everybody in the theater was like, God damn. Mr. Fantastic, she turns this nigga into strings and just dissolves him. So then you get to the fight, you get the two ladies, Captain Carter, Captain Marvel, and they trying to give it a business, so they fighting with Marvel. They fighting with Wanda, At one point, Captain Carter's fighting after Wanda then knocked the shit out of Captain Marvel out the building, out the Illuminati building. Captain Carter fighting, Wanda catches, at one point, Peggy throws the shield, Wanda catches it, throws that motherfucker, and it slices Peggy Carter in half. I'm pretty sure the visual of Peggy fully being cut and her body being split and severed is on the cutting room floor, no pun intended, because that shit, you see Peggy go whoop and just slide. She beats Captain Marvel's ass so bad where she starts taking some of her power and then drop a whole gigantic statue on this bitch. So then you get Xavier, right? Xavier tries to go into Wanda's mind because Wanda's doing what's called dream walking, where she's projecting her body through magic to another one of her variants per se in a different universe and controlling that variant. So Xavier goes into her mind trying to pull her out. In the process, Wanda comes up, goes behind this nigga, and snaps Xavier's neck. So what they did in the MCU, the reason I told you all of this, because they gave it to you. They were like, here's your fan service. Here's your fan service right now. These are everybody you said you wanted in the MCU. We gave it to you. Now they're gone. So now I think this pretty much eliminates John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. I still think he might mess around and direct the movie. Patrick Stewart is done as Charles Xavier now. I think that was his curtain call. He showed up in the MCU. Now he's officially done. Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell is done. I don't think they're going to do other variants from other universes consistently bringing them in and trying to justify it. I think this was a one and done thing. Because I know a lot of people going to go, well, if they're from this universe and then there's all these different verses in the multiverse, they can keep bringing them in. No, I don't think they're going to do that. That's the purpose of the Illuminati, understanding what the universe is, the multiverse is, excuse me. And so I think you bring them in and do that. You go on later, Wanda is, saying she's still doing everything. Steven has to do some shit to try to get close to Wanda. He manages to get a hold of the Darkhold. He starts dreamwalking himself, his body into a corpse version of himself. That is why we start seeing the Marvel zombie look, right? Because he goes into himself. That happens. Up close, it looks kind of cheesy at times, I'll admit. It looks like when he's trying to do the voice to it, he doesn't know if he should do a regular voice, half zombie voice, or what. Not by that I mean Stephen Strange. So it plays around. So it has some issue with that. When the Sinister Strange, now it's believed to be that that's the Sinister Strange from What If, but it doesn't seem like he's that one. Like he's an evil version of Strange, but he's not that one that had all that ability. But at some point he can manifest the creatures and shit, and Strange manifest creatures that you saw in What If, and I was like, that's a little confusing. Whatever, I digress. Here's when my biggest issue with this whole movie comes in. Redeeming Wanda Maximoff. You're probably wondering, what do I mean? Remember at the end of WandaVision, Wanda releases the people and she just goes and take off. That's it. Don't nobody, sword and shield. Sword is there and she just goes. She just takes off. Nobody stops her, tries to follow her, anything. And I understand. I even told people this. Yes, Wanda is so powerful. Who the fuck gonna stop her? We've seen how powerful she is. But it's just like, all right, you go live your life, do what you do. Wanda has murdered numerous people, is destroying everything, taking over lives. And at one point, she decides the only way to make things right is to destroy the Darkhold herself. And by destroying the Darkhold in the form that in which it is, she has to basically sacrifice her own life. So you give her that moment to be redeemed after she has this come to Jesus. She has a come to Jesus moment, right? So at one point, at the end of it finally happens where America learns to control her powers and she can open up the multiversal portals at will. And she takes Wanda to a universe where Wanda's kids are alive, but there's another Wanda, right? And this is the Wanda we keep seeing throughout the film. And Wanda, as a Scarlet Witch, goes in, and when she goes in, she scares the fuck out of Tommy and Billy. And so they scream and they run and they're like, yo, and Wanda's like, no, I wouldn't hurt you, blah, 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 blah. I'm your mom. She's like, yo, chill. But the mom sees it. The other Wanda sees it. And so basically, it told Wanda, you could never be these other kids' mother. The kids you had are gone. You terrified. The other kids have their moms, right? Okay. That's a come to Jesus moment. Because of that come to Jesus moment that she'll never get her kids again, she decides to say, okay, I'm going to destroy the Darkhold so can't nobody get it and can't nobody get the Darkhold and blah, blah, blah. And so I'll sacrifice myself. And so she's able to be redeemed by killing herself. No, let this bitch go out as the evil villain. Wanda's the villain of this movie. Don't let this villain be redeemed. I don't care if she's, look, her reasoning is, People are going to say, oh, well, she's a mother and doing what she can for her kids. But we all know, even through WandaVision, your children aren't real. And everybody's told you this, even while you're going through all your mental stuff. Right? So that happens. Again, constantly told and warned throughout the film, the Darkhold has effects on its users. The Darkhold has effects on its users. So again, like I said, when Stephen Strange uses it to go into his own corpse, all these things, you wonder how's it going to affect him later. The Darkhold gets destroyed, etc., etc. End of the movie, Stephen Strange walking out, everybody, he's walking down the street outside the Sanctum Sanctorum, everything seems normal. All of a sudden he has a breakdown in the street, and that extra eye, the sinister eye, comes out. Okay? So he's trying to figure out what it is. So at one point, you get the credits roll, and then Strange is back walking down the street again. He's kind of got himself, and pops up Clea, played by Charlize Theron. Now, we knew Clea would be coming into this. We knew Clea would be coming into this with Doctor Strange. A lot of people believe that Clea was in WandaVision. I thought, like, in the initial speculations and theories were that Dottie was Clea and other people as well. But no. Clea is, Charlize Theron is like, yo, I need you, and all this other shit. And she opens up the portal, and you see it's like it looks like the realm in which Dormammu was in. And she was like, are you up for this? And again, the third eye comes out. So Doctor Strange will return. Again, this whole phase, these two phases are magical, quantum, cosmic. So that's why you're getting a lot of things like that. By the way, Bruce Campbell shows up, and he's hilarious, as he should be. He works just fine as the way he is. No Tobey Maguire, so I was surprised because I thought we all pretty much believed we were getting Tobey Maguire. This is a pretty good MCU movie for me. Like I said, I got my issues with redeeming Wanda. Stop redeeming her. This is the second time you redeemed her. Now, is she dead? A whole, monument structure falls on her. We don't know. Because the Scarlet Witch in itself is powerful. She can destroy something, but the Scarlet Witch is super powerful. But stop redeeming Wanda. Wanda is, once your hero goes bad, you have to make that decision whether to kill them or not. And not just let them kill themselves and sacrifice themselves, because the sacrificing myself is a redeeming quality, is a redeeming thing. She has to die in the midst of everything. I don't care if she just, I realized I was wrong. Nah, you've been out here reckless. So that's that. Doctor Strange is the main character of this movie, but the supporting characters carry the film. Like I said, America Chavez is a star of this. She's the star of this. Wong is Wong. You know what you got out of him, which I'm surprised we got nothing tied into Shang-Chi with this. Because remember, at the end of Shang-Chi, in the post-credit scene, he goes and gets Katie and Sean. Right? So you don't get that. Rachel McAdams, like I stated earlier, she's great. You don't get a lot of Mordo as much as you wanted. Because, again, the Mordo is from another universe. And then finally, you realize, at one point, he realized he still has that beef with Strange, even in a different universe. It's an MCU movie. At the end of the day, it's an MCU horror movie. It gets there are some jump scares in this motherfucker, too. When I tell you, there's some jump scares around there, boy, this shit gets really horror-filled. And you're like, it does switch themes sometimes. But again, that's because you allowed Sam Raimi to do what Sam Raimi does, but also still keep it as an MCU movie. So there's a mesh of both. At the end of the day, no matter how I feel about it, no matter what somebody from Variety, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, any other outlet, any video, podcast, any of us say, no matter what any of us say, what Rotten Tomatoes scores say, it is going to be up to you to make your decision. Now, everything we all say are all suggestions. They are all our opinions. They are not all fact. It is what you are going to think as the person who's going to buy a ticket, who's going to sit down in the theater, spend 2 hours and 6 minutes watching. It's worth spending that time. All right? But if you've seen it at this point, I want to know your thoughts in the comments below, all right? Like, subscribe, click on the notification bell. Find out when I'm dropping more of these, okay? Make sure you'll follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. Check out the Mad Titan podcast everywhere you get your podcasts from. I get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live-action cinematic universes. This is Barbershop Talk for Nerds. Come on in the convo. Blurs in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Winston A. Marshall. We talk about the world of pop culture, news, sports, nerd stuff, and a whole lot more from a Blur's perspective, and we are unapologetically black. Twitch.tv/BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD. And speaking of which, we are doing our first ever live taping of Blurs in the Hood, Juneteenth weekend. Yes, here in Los Angeles, Saturday, June 18th at the Bourbon Room in Hollywood, California. Doors open at 7. Showtime starts 7:30. We're going to do a comedy show first. Myself, Winston A. Marshall performing, Mark Ellis, and a few more comics to be announced. Get your tickets, shptickets.com, shptickets.com. Thank y'all for checking this out, man, and sticking through with your boy. Holla at y'all later. Take care. I'm out. Bye.